Welcome back to True Stories Paranormal Survivor. I am stoked and super excited to be back on today. As many of you noticed, I have been out or not uploading as many shows as of lately, but I am back, and because I love you guys so much and because you have been sticking with me, I am going to be telling you why I have not been here. There has been so much going on in the paranormal world, in the supernatural world, for me. I spend most of my time in the spirit world. And so, meaning that I understand that spirits are always around me, and they're always wanting to communicate in any way that they can. And so I understand that. And that, my friends, is what has been happening. And as many of you also know, is that I do a lot of investigations, and I go to a lot of different places and locations and buildings, cities and states and communities. And this is where a lot lately of my hauntings have been coming from, and where I've been gathering most of my research and my information to share with you guys. Because if you've been keeping up with the show, my show started out with me sharing how I got here. And so now that I am really and truly diving into this world, and something that I'm super duper passionate about, I cannot help but to share the things that are happening to me on a daily basis. Now, my friends, I have been experiencing a lot. I mean, a lot that has been happening right here in my own home. Now, it has gotten to the point, my friends, where I had to set up some recorders, and simply because I have been feeling a bit strange. Now, as I said before, I'm used to spirits, and I'm used to things being around me, feeling things, hearing things, seeing things. But when it gets to the point of I cannot tell, like it literally was to a point where I couldn't tell, and I wanted to be certain if it was either a person or an entity. And so I set up some, recorders in my home, and I would set them up whenever I would leave. And I'm not quite sure if some of you know, but I do some work when it comes to the extraterrestrial world, and that I don't share on the show because this is more of a paranormal supernatural show. But if you ever want to hear any of that, I could pop in some of my experiences. I try to keep it, keep that for a whole different world of folks who are experiencers, what we call them. And so I don't like to automatically think that what I'm hearing, experiencing, seeing, is a big thing or a big deal. And you guys know I tell you that probably all the time. And I understand that I have to be careful in how I navigate content. And so I set up these cameras in the home, and the goal was to capture whatever I could, whether it be someone talking, or it doesn't matter. I didn't care if I picked up the sound of a bird. I just wanted to capture something, because many of you know, if you're investigators, or if you are experiencers, or if you are someone who has seen something or heard something, trying to relay this and explain this to people, they kind of look at you like you have two heads. And then two, when you are saying these things, people want to debunk, and as I do myself. But whenever I feel something and I could hear something, it can be quite challenging or irritating to try and explain this, and it's being debunked away, or a person who maybe is in fear don't believe that it's happening. And so I come back and I listen to the recorder, and there is this loud sound on the recorder. Sounded as if somebody was either picking up the recorder or shuffling the recorder, and there was absolutely no one home. And so now I'm like, what do I do with this? What do I do? And then some other things began to happen, and it was difficult for me to say if it was spirit world or a person. I had things that in my home that had literally been turned backwards or upside down. And though I understand that an entity could do something like this, capable of doing something like this, I still could not put my finger on why. Why? If this is an entity, why be such a picky, playful, annoying, entity? Why? And also, if this is a person, a human being coming into the home, again, why? What is the motive for just coming into my house, shuffling my papers, opening up all of my cabinetry, and tossing things around and turning things upside down or around and just leaving, right? I know when you even listen to this, it's like, what? Like, really, it's crazy. All right. So these are the types of things that I am, experiencing on a daily, to a point where at one point, my friends, I was actually trying to ignore it. I started saying, maybe if I'm not looking for anything, I'm not going to find anything. And it got to a point where I said, my friends, I'm going to put up cameras. OM to the G. What I have captured on these cameras, let me just put it like this. It is fascinating. And because I want to share with you guys as much as possible, because you're just listening to a voice on the radio and on a podcast. And without actually seeing what's going on, you're just listening to me tell you these things, right? And so I said, it's been so much going on, and to the point where I couldn't even be on the radio, that I am going to start a YouTube channel, and I'm going to share some of this stuff with you. But at the end of this podcast, I'm going to be sharing with you where you can go and see what I am talking about, literally, as soon as the podcast is over. So I set up these cameras, my friends, and I have to tell you, we literally were like testing the cameras and trying to find out, make sure that these cameras were working properly and yada, yada. And my daughter and I are, we're looking at the cameras on our phones and kind of standing like, in the view of the camera, not like directly in front of it, but just enough that the camera would detect us. And literally, while we were standing there, this giant, lie to you not, you're going to see this footage, orb comes over my head, into my daughter's face, into the camera, and back off into my kitchen. You can see this. That's just one unexplainable, strange, very strange event. And I kept saying, I known that something was happening in the kitchen. I had known that, things were coming in and wanting to chat when I was in the kitchen. And a couple of times I've been coming through my kitchen, and that's when spirit has come through and they've given me messages, and they have said, I want you to tell this person that and this person that. And I have contacted people and called people and, and given them the message. So I'm aware that spirit has come through while I was in the kitchen, and that has happened a few times. But capturing what I am about to share with you all, bone chilling, literally bone chilling, my friends. So I come through my kitchen, and it's one of those times where the cameras are up, and I'm shutting down the kitchen. Like I do this every day. I shut down the house. I make sure everything is locked. I make sure all the lights are off, or whatever's going to be on is on, yada, yada. And coming through the kitchen, and I could feel, I literally could feel someone standing near me. And not only could I feel this, but it got like a cold rush. And so at first I was just going to just shut everything down like normal and go on to bed. And then I could feel it in a different place. So it was as if it was like here. I'm literally hand motioning like a crazy person, but it was like in one space, and I felt it in a different space. Caught my attention. And then while I am standing in the middle of my floor, because this tends to happen, I feel something, and then lots of times, not all the time, but lots of times I will physically see something. Physically. And what's so weird and what's so strange is that somebody could be standing literally right beside me, right beside me, or in a room where they can see me, and they never see it. So I look like a wacko. So I'm standing in the kitchen, and after I feel this coldness in front of me, near me, I literally 100%, God honest truth, see this light, like a ball of light, or like a light in front of me, like literally in front of me, kind of to my right side. It's like a light sitting in the floor, not like it's a casting from the stove, that light over there, or the sink light. Nothing. I was in the dark, and the light that was on was over my sink area, and where I am standing is midway the kitchen. Oddly shaped, large kitchen, just weird. And I explained that to you to let you know there was no casting where I was, and all around me was dark. But to the right of me, I see this light, like a ball of light sitting on the floor, my friends. If you are a person who has experienced something like this, please reach out to me. Since before this, prior to this, I've been, in this world now and understanding it, and, been a part of my life ever since I was like 13 years old. And never have I ever seen a ball of light sitting on the floor. I've seen orbs. I've gone back and looked at videos. My friends, this thing was sitting right there, beside me. And I go, oh my gosh. So I grab my phone, and I open up my phone, and I pull up the camera on my phone to see if maybe, you'll even hear me say in the video, I feel like I'm a crazy person, but I know I just saw a ball of light. So I pick up my phone, and I'm looking at my phone to see if anything happens, or what is this, and get done with the video, my friends. And I go back and I play the video back, and I literally am looking at the floor, and I'm saying, I literally know I saw a thing, a ball of light sitting in my floor. A ball of light, my friend, sitting in the floor, on the floor. When I go to point at this thing, this light on my floor, I move my hand up and I just to kind of say, I saw something here and it moves up. As I move my hand in an upward motion, this orb literally goes along with my hand and goes in an upward motion up and then disappears. In this exact same night, I'm like, oh my God, I am literally shocked by what I had seen. And so I'm shocked. I'm confused. I don't know how to explain this. And so I go back into the kitchen, and my daughter is in the living room and she can see back into the kitchen, and she's on her phone. I'm not looking at the camera at this time. I just have my phone in my hand and I go back into the kitchen, and my daughter is in my living room. And she goes, "Mom, your phone is blinking." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, your phone is blinking." And I'm looking at my phone. I'm in the dark. My phone is not blinking. And I go, "My phone is not blinking. I don't see it. I have no idea what you're talking about." Well, anyway, my friends, because that story could go on and on. So again, the presence of whomever this is or was, I don't want to say is, don't want to manifest anything, but whomever this was at the time, they made themselves very, very present. And my daughter was like, "Mom, I'm looking at the camera. What you don't understand is there is a lot of stuff going on around you. Just orbs everywhere, things going on and lights blinking all around me." My kitchen light was blinking at one point. Like I have this light I have a television like in the kitchen, and then beside the TV, there's a light where you can kind of, like, I don't know, like sit your coffee or whatever. And there's a light right there, and the light is blinking, but it's not blinking in there. It's blinking on her camera, and she's just like, all this stuff is going on. So I actually have a conversation, and I'm like, okay, this has to, I'm ready to go to bed. It's now after 11 o'clock. I'm like, okay, we got to shut this down. And if you are, a medium, or you are psychic or clairvoyant, I mean, though we don't all have the exact same gifts, you kind of will get where I'm going with this. When they are there and they're prepared and they want to speak, they will. And if you think that you're just going to go to bed and then everything is going to die out and die down, and all the action is going to stop, it doesn't always happen that way. So I was like, okay, we got to figure this out. Figure this out, what's going on. And I proceed to have a conversation, and the entity talks to me through my phone via blinking my phone to answer questions. I don't realize at the time that I don't realize at the time that there was an actual audio, but I could hear the entity speak telepathically. And so I'm going to play for you the entity talking, and then I'm going to play it back for you in slow motion so you can hear what the entity is saying. So I'm now in full on, like, if you get it, I mean, even investigators get it. You're like in a different zone when you're in a conversation. It's more than just an investigation, or as a medium or clairvoyant, it's more than just there's a camera here, or I'm in a dark room. It's a totally different zone. It's a totally different world. And so at this point, I am all in. Okay. And so I can hear the entity speak in the telepathically, and the entity says their name. And when they say their name, I can hear them and I speak back. And they then confirm their, who I'm talking to via blinking. And this is why I really want you to go and take a look at this, because I can tell you all these things all the time, but it makes it more real, more realistic when you're able to actually see it and hear it yourself. Because I do this, as I said before, you could be experiencing some things, or you could be wondering if you have a gift and not quite understand how to navigate it. And so that, other than I love to share with you my experiences, that is why I do this show. So I'm having a conversation with the entity, and I hear it telepathically. And here is the audio of the entity talking. Gonna have to play that one more time. Make sure the audio is up. Yeah. I'm gonna play that again because it was just being wonky. Yeah. Now that is I can hear the entity say something telepathically, and then that is me responding. And here again, I'm going to play this for you slower, hopefully louder. Yeah. When I tell you all that to hear that out loud, was, sometimes I say eerie because I'm in the moment, but after the fact, I was really happy for the entity, because it takes a lot of energy to not only blink these lights to communicate, but it takes a lot of energy to use things like cameras or phones in order to speak. That takes a lot. And such a very intelligent entity and spirit, by the way. And they say, who they are or what they were asking or saying or whatever. And I was stunned when I played that back, because when my daughter was actually watching the conversation, she was watching the lights flicker throughout the communication. And she said to me, "Mom, you have got to play this back." And when I played it back, I had known that I was speaking telepathically, but that's when I heard the entity speak. And so if you are interested in, actually seeing this video play by play happen in the kitchen, you can go to my TikTok and watch the video where I share. I tell you, it is something. It really is something. If you go to at Rashika, RBTS, the video and many more videos are on there. You can watch these videos. You can see these videos. But for people who are like myself, I am not a fan of all of these social media sites. I am not. There are some people who do not have TikTok, don't like it, don't have Instagram, or don't have Facebook. And I get it. I am not a fan myself. I have a business, and that was literally the only reason I had a TikTok. But I am going to upload these videos to a YouTube channel for you all, to those of you who are like myself, who don't want to go and sign on to TikTok, don't have a TikTok, so that you can actually see what I am talking about. And for those of you who are wondering, because I know when I put these videos up, or if I'm out and about and I have to give a message, people are always asking how, or why. So me uploading these videos, that way you can actually see me communicating. You can see the entity communicating with me and understand what is happening and how it's all happening. It's nothing strange. I know somebody came on and they were like, you need to be cautious. And I was like, oh, honey, I have been thrown, tossed, choked, and everything in between. It took me a long, hard journey to understanding and discernment. And one thing you will know about me, I'm always going to be very cautious. That is also why the reason that, I am a master Reiki. It is very important for you to understand how to cleanse yourself, cleanse your home when you are out and about, or when you are investigating, or you believe that you have an entity in your home. And we'll talk more on tomorrow.